Listen, so I put a poll in my private community saying if I can magically snap my fingers like Thanos and grant you three choices, which one would you choose? Number one, 850 credit score. Number two, $4,000 a week. And number three, $2 million. Now, I was surprised when I seen over 18% of people said that they would choose 850 credit score. Here's why. Lenders, creditors, or any financial institution out there, they don't care about your 850 credit score. Listen, you don't need an 850 credit score to buy a house. You don't need an 850 credit score to buy a car. And you don't need an 850 credit score to get business funding. Because if you're following my channel right now, if you haven't been subscribed, make sure you definitely subscribe to my channel if you like the valuable content that I'm giving. However, if this is your first time watching, you should understand that 95% of business funding is predicated on your personal credit. Yes, you have to PG. So when it comes to personal credit, it means everything to these lenders, these financial institutions. So you definitely want to make sure that your personal credit profile is in position. Now, in this video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons or 5 mistakes, I should say, that's keeping your credit score poor. Now, let's dive right into it because number one is one of the biggest, which is checking Credit Karma. Now, here's the thing about Credit Karma. Technically, it's not a credit monitoring site. And here's the other thing about it. When we check Credit Karma, we get all excited. Hey, I have a 750 credit score with Credit Karma. Then we go down to the car dealership or we go to the mortgage loan officer to try to get a loan. And they tell us that we only have a 550. Well, that's because Credit Karma is called your Advantage 3.0. It's the estimate of your FICO scores. So whenever you want to get a loan, any type of business funding from any creditor or lender, we need to make sure that we check our FICO score. Now, I'm going to give you a recommendation down below where you can pull your FICO scores for only $1. It'll give you all 3 for a 7-day trial for only $1. So you can take a look at your FICO score and make sure you look at the data that's on there because we're going to go over that too as well. But more importantly, the other reason why you don't want to check Credit Karma is because they only give you 2 out of 3 credit bureaus. They give you Equifax and TransUnion. We should all know that we need Experian too as well. In fact, most lenders check Experian to see if you're credible or a lendable borrower. So we definitely want to make sure we look at Experian too as well. Now, again, they give you your Advantage 3.0 score. So even if you do look at the score, it's not your FICO score. And lastly, number 3, Credit Karma don't give you all the accurate data, especially if you try and dispute and remove or repair and restore and rebuild your credit profile. It don't give you all the data so you can remove and dispute those negative items from your credit profile. So I know it's free and you guys love to check free stuff. However, you will have to invest into your credit in order to make it better, essentially. So don't check Credit Karma. Now, when it comes to other financial institutions, they will give you your FICO score. But be careful with those banks too as well, such as Capital One. Capital One gives you something that's called CreditWise, which is a Advantage 3.0 credit monitoring system. So we have to make sure that we're looking at our FICO score. If it doesn't have FICO score by it, it's not your FICO score. So don't worry about Capital One, but let's say Wells Fargo do give you your FICO score. It has FICO by it, so this is your accurate scores. Now, there's different type of FICO monitoring service out there that I'm not going to get into, but if it doesn't have FICO by it, it's not your accurate score. So let's stop looking at Credit Karma and actually look at our FICO score. Now, the other reason why your credit score is poor is due to your collection accounts. Now, let me explain what I mean by this. Number one, the biggest mistakes that I see when it comes to a collection account is people will pay their collection accounts. You don't want to pay your collection accounts. Here's why. Number one, when you pay your collection account, it does absolutely nothing for your score. It does absolutely nothing for the algorithm. The reason why is because the amount doesn't take into consideration when it comes to your FICO score. It's the longevity of that collection account, which means your date of last activity. Okay, so let's unpack it. So you can owe $100 or you can owe $10,000. The amount doesn't matter. How long has that negative collection account been on your credit profile? Has it been 2 years? Has it been 5 years? Has it been 6 months? So the older that account is, like anything over 2 years, the less impact it's having on your credit profile. If that account is very new, let's say 2 years or younger, the more impact it has on your credit profile. So we want to make sure that when we don't pay it, because if you pay that account, let's say it's 5 years, you pay that account, it's gonna update as a brand new account, regardless if the balance say $100 or $10,000 or $0. It's gonna still register as a brand new account, which means it's gonna even lower your credit score. Are you tracking me? Just think about it. If it was that easy, if the algorithm worked like that, everybody would have paid their collection accounts and everybody would have good credit. But the algorithm doesn't make it that easy. So whenever you have a collection account or a charge off, you want to dispute it and remove it. The only reason I would ever tell you pay the collection account for two reasons. Number one, if the lender said, hey, you know what? You pay this collection account because it is affecting your debt to income ratio. So if you pay it down, we will approve you for this loan. Number two, if the creditor or if the collection agent say, hey, we will remove this account if you pay this account. Whether you do a settlement or you pay full balance, we will remove it. That's the only reason why I would ever tell you to pay collection account, for those two particular reasons. Otherwise, you want to dispute it and remove it off your account. Okay? So that's the second reason why your credit score is poor. The third reason why your credit score is poor, because of your credit utilization. Remember, credit utilization makes up 30% of your credit profile. It's the second biggest key component that makes up your FICO score. So most of the time when I look at credit profiles, I see that the individual, that the consumer has high credit usage. And the reason why majority of you have high credit usage is because you don't understand how to master your credit cards. If you don't master your credit cards, then you can't manipulate them anywhere you want to. In order for you to manipulate your credit card, you need to understand 3 different dates. Number 1, your payment due date. Number 2, your statement date. This can be your open statement date and your closed statement date. And number 3, your reporting date. If you understand those 3 dates, you can master your credit cards. Therefore, you can manipulate your credit cards any way you want to. So we have to understand, if you want me to do a video on how to master and manipulate your credit cards, just put manipulate. No, you know what? Just put master. Yeah, let's put master in the comments below if you want me to do a video solely on how to master your credit cards, which is really powerful. I promise you, over about 80% of credit profiles that I look at, your credit utilization is high. This is the reason why your credit score is suffering, right? So just put master below. Now, that's the third reason why your credit score remain poor. The fourth reason why is because you add an authorized user at the wrong time. If you don't know what authorized user is, aka an AU, all it means essentially you're piggybacking off somebody else's good credit history. So for example, mother, brother, cousin, sister, father, dad, whoever adds you on one of their credit cards, so you inherit all that credit history, such as credit utilization, credit history, payment history. All that information goes on your credit profile. So it can help with a multitude of things. It can help with your payment history. It can help with your credit history. It can help with your overall credit utilization, not individual, but overall credit utilization. So adding an authorized user can be a very powerful strategy if you do it in a strategic way. Here's how you don't want to do it. You don't want to add an authorized user if you have negative and derogatory items on your credit profile, meaning any collection account, charge off, evictions, repos, etc. Because if you add an authorized user, it's like adding lipstick on a pig. At the end of the day, it's still a filthy pig, no matter how you dress that pig up. All right, no shade to all my pig lovers out there, but no matter how you dress that pig up, it's still a pig. So it's the same thing when it comes to your credit profile. Lenders can distinguish between a primary account and an authorized user. In fact, it says it on there. This is an authorized user. This is a primary account. So we have to understand that these lenders are not dumb. They know when you just add an authorized user on it to try to boost your credit scores up. This is why lenders don't care about your credit score. They care about your credit profile, because they understand that your credit score can be easily manipulated by adding authorized users, something like that. So that's the third reason why your credit score is staying poor, because you just add an authorized user and not trying to remove the negative items off your credit report. Now, another reason why your credit profile is staying poor is because of, well, I think that was the fourth reason. I think it's the fifth one. is because of you closing accounts, your credit cards with high balance on there. In fact, you just closing credit cards in general. So the reason why you shouldn't close your credit cards, now if you do, you want to check the other data points on your credit profile. But most people close their credit profile and they have no reason doing it. Then when they do it, they have a higher credit usage on there. So if you have a $10,000 credit card and your balance is $8,000 and you close that account, well, that balance is going to remain on there. So which means it's going to affect your credit utilization, your overall credit utilization, which is going to keep your credit score poor. So we don't want to close credit cards unless we absolutely have to. And most times we don't have to, we just do it. But let's say you have a beginner card and, well, it just depends on, because that beginner card that you received may be giving you your highest credit history. And if you close that card, now you lose all that credit history. So this is the reason why I'm really against closing credit cards, but I get why some people do it. But for the most part, you don't want to do it because, for one, you're losing credit history and payment history. Number two, you're closing it with a high balance on there. So we don't want to close our credit cards. If anything, we might want to upgrade, or we want to try to get a different credit card and trade that credit card in. So you can do things like that as opposed to just closing. But let me make sure I get all these 5 reasons right. So we went over checking Credit Karma is not a good idea. We also went over paying a collection, not a good idea. We also went over higher credit utilization. We want to keep that low. We also went over what else? Old accounts. You don't want to close old credit cards. And we also went over adding an authorized user when it comes on there. So those are the 5 reasons why what's keeping your credit profile poor is because those 5 credit mistakes. Now, if you want to learn more, you can always schedule a free discovery call. Hit the link below. Also, I'm going to leave that down there where you can check your credit profile. You can check your FICO scores for only $1. It's a 7-day trial. After that, they will charge you like $34. Now, I recommend keeping it, especially if you don't have a credit monitoring service already that's giving you your 3 scores, or you can cancel out in 7 days, but you need to know your credit scores and you need to know your data that's reporting on your credit report. All right, guys, that's the video. I will see you on the next one. Peace.